All right, everybody, it is me, Brian Bond. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, BriCLOGGER. And as you know, I've been doing a series of conversations with influential cloggers, people who have had a great impact on the American folk art of clogging. And today is a gentleman from back east, not from the south, from back east, who has come up in every conversation I've had with influential cloggers. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have BURTON Edwards here. How are you doing, BURTON?
Mighty fine.
Good to see you, my friend.
Speak with you, boss.
I'll tell you, but I'm a few years younger than you.
Good, by the way.
Thank you. I've got a couple good years left, I think. I'm a little younger than you, but I'll tell you, when I did hee-haw with the Steel Family Cloggers from 85 to 89. The way I always describe you is that you were the first rock star of clogging, the first person to elevate clogging to that cool kind of level on a nationwide scale. Everybody kind of knew who you are.
Well, I want to thank you, but as far as the showmanship and as far as timing it, counting it, choreographing it, nobody beats you all.
Oh, you know.
I mean, seriously, you and Jay Ledford, in my opinion, are the child prodigy for the movement. And, you know, I'd like to think I was a child prodigy for the feet.
Yeah.
The sound and the footwork. But you two were definitely the child prodigies for choreography and all that. And, man, my hat's off to you because it takes us all to make it evolve.
Yeah.
And to make it work.
Brian and Bonnie Steele and I were talking about it, and there's no way Steel Family would have been who we were without competing against Tennessee Hoedowners and, you know, Leather and Lace. It was all of us together that brought it up. You know, you're sort of like, with all that, they have what I consider to be an image breakthrough with clogging, and you had that same thing. But,
you know, most of those boys dance with me.
And I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, I trained most of those guys, or I trained their teachers, but most of them lived with me. Mike, DeLon, a lot of those guys come here and lived and run machines.
I love it.
You know, our dance, the way it evolved, and a lot of people don't think of it like this, but, you know, when the music first came here from other from other countries, you couldn't carry a piano to the mountains of West Virginia or the mountains of Maggie Valley, but you could carry a fiddle and a guitar.
Yep.
Well, what people don't realize is in the slave era, which they were great dancers, you know, they had the hoedown, they had the jig, they had a soft shoe. And in our world, we had buck dancing, flat footing, and soft shoe also. And then we had clogging. Well, in the big band era and the slave movement, you know, the black community was marketed, and they were brought to Broadway, and they had a stage. They had a stage to dance on.
Yeah.
Well, our world, we didn't have a stage. We had competitions, but the competitions being every weekend, just like you said, all of y'all played off each other and grew and grew and grew.
Yeah.
Well, that competition thing turned us into the best in the world, because we wasn't just rehearsing for a show. We was rehearsing for a competition that we had to be better next week than we were the week before.
Yeah.
You know, because we was competing against the same masters. You know, I could go all the way to Indiana or somewhere, Florida or anything, and still most of the time compete against Jay Ledford and Leather and Lace.
Yeah.
And then when you guys came down, you wiped us all out. You know, my point is that, you know, there was two sides of it. And clogging, when the big band era came, and the black community, tap dancing and jig dancing and soft shoe, all of that, the Rippy Hines, the Condis Brothers, Jimmy Slide, all those great masters, they were on TV. They were in the shows, the big bands.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, in the mountain world, it sort of, we got TVs. We were watching them at home, and our dance was dying. Instead of being passed down, the street dancers got less and less. The barn dancers got less and less. We lost our community.
Interesting.
Well, we started bringing it back, and I think that's what I had influence in, is bringing it back as a community and trying to show when in the late 70s through the 90s, when our dance, the dance I love, my best friend, when it evolved to its maximum point at that time, it was power. it was strength. It dominated, but yet it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And even the females had power. You know, you talk about Sherry Glass and
Sonia Shepherd, Jenny Powers.
And yeah, and the girls, the three sisters, in Kentucky. But anyhow, all this power. It was like, well, this woman, we did Mountain Ledge, and this woman, she was the lead dancer for the New York City Ballet, her and her husband for 19 years. And she came and watched us rehearse. We didn't have enough money to hire a director, so I built her a waterfall. And I said, well, just come watch us rehearse. If you like us, maybe you could tell me how much you'd charge me to direct the show. You know, I didn't know what left stage was, right stage, left stage. But anyhow, she came and watched us, and her quote was, that was the most beautiful, unbridled talent I've ever seen. She said there was more, the footwork, the movements. She said it was just incredible, but it hadn't been brought to Broadway.
Right.
And that's still, and I'm so proud of Mike Curtis and all those guys, and Mark, and, you know, DeLon and all of them. You know, I wanted to bring it to that stage. And, you know, Daddy had the stomping ground. He seated a couple thousand people, and we tried. But I really wanted to bring it to the light, to the world, not as clogging. Clogging, to me, there's a commercial on TV now about the cloggers upstairs.
Yeah.
It broke my heart. You know, they're basically making fun of the dance I love when that's not clogging. That's a family having fun.
Yeah.
You know, clogging is so... And I'll tell you something else. If you want to talk about the swing or the jitterbug or tap dancing or clogging, they're if you show them in their true form, they're very simple. Very, very simple.
Yeah.
But when you start adding the tricks and all the things they do to it, because dancers steal from dance.
Yeah.
You know, and dance style, steal from dance style. Or borrow, maybe a better word. But it was a Brian Steele band.
That's right.
I gotta get my little kick there. But everybody borrowed from everybody.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is, it's so beautiful the way ours evolved, but, you know, ours almost got lost.
Wow.
And then we started coming back, you know, the TVs and lack of barn dances, lack of street dances, the old soft shoe and the old buck dancing where was really the tap dancing, and, you know, and some of the best Broadway stuff. We had it, but it's just under a different name.
Well, I think that people like you and Tandy in the 80s did a lot of, and I don't think there was a lot of money in workshops, but your workshops took that clogging nationwide. You connected the East Coast and the West Coast, and you started to create that excitement about it again, I think.
And it was a barrier, too. You know, we had to break the barrier.
Yeah.
And bring everybody together, but to bring that excitement back. And I really, you know, I'm no special person, but I grew up in a special place. And just in my hometown, there was 30 or 40 masters. You know, we hear of Jimmy Slide. If you get on some of the old archives, have you ever watched him? Have you ever seen Jimmy Slide?
Is he in that documentary, Talking Feet?
Yeah, no, he wasn't in there.
Oh, okay. You're
gonna have to pull up one with Gregory Hines.
Okay, I'll look it up.
Pull it up and look up Jimmy Slide and the Congress Brothers. And this guy could, and I played on some of his stuff. He'd do a few steps and slide with it and bring it right back into time. But he was like he's on ice all the time. He's so fluid with his feet and his crossing. Everything, he's like Baryshnikov.
That's
you know,
cool.
I tell everybody Baryshnikov, if you took 100 pictures of him dancing, every picture would be a pose.
Yeah.
Everything he done was perfect. Every move he made, every look he made. And that's what, when I married Miss Carolyn, she was a ballet teacher, and that's actually how I got her to go out with me. She was out of my league.
You married up?
But I told her she was a ballet dancer. She had been accepted to Martha Graham in New York. And I told her I wanted to learn some ballet to perfect my spotting and some of the ways that I carry myself and some of the moves. And one of the best things I ever done.
Cool.
Is incorporating some ballet into the dance. But all dances. And if I was a single guy, I would go out and join every dance club. I wouldn't go to a bar and try to find a wife. I'd go and join every waltz class, every modern ballet dance class in the world. It's that communication. Dance is a language. You know,
I love it.
You can go anywhere in the world and talk to people and never say a word.
Well, and if you're going to go meet people at a bar, you're not always seeing them at their best. When you're seeing them working hard, having a good time in communities, like doing those dance moves, then you're probably seeing them really at their true, most fun, happy self, right?
You're exactly right.
What I want to bring up a quote I saw. So I was watching the documentary Talking Feet, right? That's what it's called. That you're featured in.
Yeah, Talking Feet. When I was 14, the Smithsonian Institute, Mike, I'll think of his name in a minute. Mike got a grant from the Smithsonian Institute. He went around and he got about 75 of the best dancers in the world, but they were 60 years and older. And he got one young person, and thank the Lord it was me. And my job was to show how the dancers could, and the way my little mind worked, that's crazy, of course, but if they could do it on the left foot, why couldn't I do it on the right foot? And if they could do it forwards, why couldn't I do it backwards? If
Nice.
they could do it backwards, I'm going to do it forwards. So I took the first thing, I took every step and made 4 steps from it.
Cool.
You know, just by directions.
Because
Then we started working on lower and high power. But the Smithsonian was documented, and it's still being sold. But you know something, Brian? That was 40 years ago. Right now, It's time. Dance had changed so much from the 20s to 1980. Okay, 1976, somewhere in there. It's changed twice as much from there to now.
Yeah.
Someone needs to get a grant. Me and you or somebody needs to get a grant.
I've thought about trying to work on it.
And go back and preserve the steps that have evolved since then till now. It's a whole other world again.
Well, it really has evolved since I was started in the 80s. It's interesting talking to you because let me close the door. It's raining and it's making it hard to hear. Your perception and memories of clogging are so much deeper than mine, because mine started in 1984, and I really didn't know much about it before I started talking to Tandy and Simone and you, and I hadn't really thought about it. My grandma had a clogging team in her high school in 1922. It's in her yearbook, right? But I didn't realize it was, I just didn't realize what it was back then. But I lost my train of thought.
Well, I'd like to give a shout out to Bill Nichols and Simone. Bill was one of the first ones that noticed me. And because of where I grew up, a 2-count step, a basic step, shuffle step, rock step. Okay? Most of those had 5 sounds and 2 counts. Well, mine had 7 or 9 sounds in 2 counts. And people were trying to figure out what to do, and that's back when video cameras just started. And I didn't realize I had something special till started breaking it down, and then later on I started teaching it. For years, people would just come up, Tandy Barrett and the girls, what were they called? There were 4 or 5 of them. Possum Holler, CLOGGERS. Possum Holler, that's Tandy Barrett was leading it, and Joanne Gibbs. Okay. And they would come to the house in the winter and say, "Burton, show me a new step." And I'd say, "Well, play me a new song." And they'd play me a song, and God would give me a step. And then I'd have to do it 100 times to do it the same. Because I never counted.
Because you're a true freestyler, right? I'm not a good freestyler.
I was a true freestyler. It may come out 8.5, and the next step be 5.5, and the last step be 1.5 to make it equal out.
Yeah.
1.5 counts or whatever. But finally, they got me corralled in to where I would do 4s and 8 count steps. But what I done is I never danced the counts. I later on did, but I danced to the lead music, the lead instruments. I didn't dance to the downbeat or the upbeat. I tried to dance to the lead instruments. Okay. And which actually, our feet are percussive.
Absolutely.
Just like a drum can take a break, a solo, so can a set of taps. Especially if people understand you know, the ratio of timing and the syncopation of timing and everything else. It's really amazing what the feet can do if you're young and skinny.
Yeah. Hang on one second. I'm going to move my camera over to the other side so I can make sure it's louder because it's starting to rain a little more. We never get rain in California, and today we got tons. So, all right. Yeah, I think it is.
You're just going to ask me a question about talking feet.
Yeah, well, it's about the quote. So you did this great quote, and I've always said there's no wrong way to clog. Like, what I love about clogging is, just like America is comprised of cultures from all over the world, and they all blend together, our great American melting pot. Clogging, there's not a rule that says I'm doing it wrong, you're doing it right. And so in that documentary, I heard you call it the freedom dance, and I just loved it. So can you explain that for me again?
Yeah, I can. When I danced at the stomping ground, I had a rule of thumb. Me and my sister figured out the best way to get people to stay. Come back another night. I would dance with all the girls. She would dance with all the guys that come in on a busload. But one thing we done is you never upstage the person you're dancing with. Number one, you want to get them to fall in love with the dance too.
Yeah.
Number two, you want them to feel good and everything else, and you don't want to embarrass them or upstage them. So you dance at their level. You know, you encourage them a little bit. You try to pick them up a little higher, but you still at their level. Now, if somebody comes out there that's a hot shot like Brent Montgomery or DeLon Collins, some of them boys back in the day, then you got to get it.
Yeah.
But number one, you never outstage them. Number two, it's a freedom dance because it's an expression of how you're feeling inside that day. And also it's an expression of what that song does to you. Now, a song, music, can make you time travel. I truly believe that.
Absolutely.
I can close my eyes, certain songs come on, and I feel like I'm out west. You know, certain songs come on, and I feel like I'm driving the fastest car in the world. And then some songs come on, and I'm dancing, I'm clogging or tapping to a slow ballad, you know, and I'm just floating through the air. But it's also a freedom dance because you can go anywhere in the world and ask somebody to dance, whether it's clogging, it's tapping, it's line dance, it's soft shoe, waltz especially, partner dances, and you can communicate.
Wow, I sure enjoyed my conversation with the legendary Burton Edwards. Make sure to check out part 2 and also subscribe to the channel for more great clogging content. Have a great day.